I'm not surprised in the least. I think from that attack here a couple weeks ago at the that American base in Jordan that had the three KIAs and the 40 plus wounded in action, I think this man was living on borrowed time.
Welcome back to the programme. Now, a US drone strike has hit a car in the Iraqi capital Baghdad, killing a senior commander of an Iranian-backed paramilitary group who'd been held directly responsible for an attack that killed 3 American soldiers late last month. The US military did not name the commander, but security sources and the militia group identified him as Wissam Mohammed Abu Baqir al-Saadi, a leader of the Kataib Hezbollah group. 2 of his guards were also killed in the strike in the Mashtal neighbourhood in the eastern part of Baghdad. Let's talk to Colonel Brendan Kearney, who's a military affairs analyst and former chief of staff for the US Marine Corps forces in Europe. Good evening to you, Colonel Kearney.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Carol, even on even on topics like this.
Well, good to have you with us. What do you make of this latest US attack that we're hearing about tonight?
I'm not surprised in the least. I think from that attack here a couple weeks ago at the that American base in Jordan that had the three KIAs and the 40 plus wounded in action, I think this man was living on borrowed time. The United States was going to go after him, and I think it was just a question of tracking him down and then following him around for a while to get the patterns and then launching the attack.
It is extraordinary the way they seem to have carried out what appears to have been a very precise drone attack, taking out this man that they say was a very significant senior commander. How significant do you think it is that they've been able to do this?
Well, it is significant. It's to be celebrated. I mean, we don't like death any time, but there's an individual that probably earned it. This guy apparently did. These type of things have been going on for years. We perfected this type of activity in both Iraq and in Afghanistan, and quite frankly, the Israelis have been doing it even longer. I've many years ago, I watched attacks that they conducted in the Gaza Strip against Hamas commanders there and Hezbollah commanders. If you have the technology and you have the intelligence, you have to have both. Then it's something that you can pull off.
It does come, doesn't it, after a whole series of attacks. We saw the US launch, I think it was 85 strikes across Syria and Iraq after that attack on a US base, which killed 3 US military personnel. But do you think there is a danger that a strike right in the heart of Baghdad could be seen as a further escalation in this very tense region?
Well, it's going to be used by those who oppose the United States, Israel, and the West, the extremists. They're going to use this as justification for their own horrific activities. It's dangerous in the sense that you could very easily go ahead and kill innocents in your attempt to go after the bad guy in this case, and sadly, his 2 bodyguards. So there is a degree of danger, but do I think that danger will translate into a wider conflict? I don't know. I think there will be a quid pro quo in terms of a response of some type, a violent response, but I don't see it turning into further inflaming the regional issues that are ongoing there now.
What more do we know about Abu Baqir al-Saadi, who is supposedly a senior commander in a militia group that's certainly not a household name? Do we know how important a figure he was?
We'll get Carol. Somebody knows. I'm sure British and American familiar with them, but those organizations are a dime a dozen over there. And I saw this even 25 years ago when I was active in North Africa, and we were dealing with some of these groups. They pop up, they disappear, they kill each other. It's a tough business to get into, and there's not a whole lot of people who are real successful, as evidenced by this individual's terminated career here earlier today.
Isn't the other problem with all of this that, however senior a commander he may have been, that with these militia groups, often quite fanatical, there will always be others ready and waiting to take his place?
You are 100% right. And we do have to sometimes fear that by removing one, we may open the door to somebody who's worse, somebody who's smarter, much more efficient. And you have to give credit where credit's due. Some of these people are evil geniuses. This guy, in this case, apparently wasn't. He was identified clearly as being associated with this little group, and as a result of that, he's dead. But there will be somebody that will probably step in to take his place. There's no doubt about that.
We had tonight Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, flatly rejecting the latest proposed deal that could have brought about at least a temporary ceasefire and perhaps the release of more hostages. Do you think that it is the conflict in Gaza, the continuation of that Israeli military operation, that has led to this, just wider tension and attacks and counterattacks that we've seen in Syria, in Iraq, as well as, of course, the attacks on shipping in the Red Sea?
Oh, I think it's contributed to it, Carol. There's no doubt in my mind anyway. However, that being said, Iran is behind this. They've been giving the Houthis the weapon systems, the money, the same with Hezbollah. And with Hamas, it's in the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars a year that they are doing this to foment trouble against Israel and the United States and the West writ large. So if it wasn't for Gaza, would there be violence going on? Yes. Would it be at this level? I don't think so, but one never knows.
Colonel Brendan Kearney, military affairs analyst and former chief of staff for the US Marine Corps forces in Europe. Always great to have you on the programme. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.